From feeding them to teaching and reading to them, carting them and all of their stuff around. I think we can all agree that raising kids is harder than installing a car seat. Now add in working a full-time job.
That's where childcare comes in. But this help involves a bit of juggling. Just ask my Fox 17 colleagues.
I'm Carla Vanderhorst. I'm the assistant news director here at Fox 17. My daughter has been in daycare since she was 3 months old, and I have to pick her up by 6 p.m., which can be a struggle whenever there's breaking news here in West Michigan to make it there on time.
I'm Andy Curtis with the Fox 17 Morning Show. And when my family and I moved back here to Michigan over a year ago, finding childcare for our 2-year-old daughter was very, very difficult.
I'm Sarah. I'm a producer, and I'm also the mom of a 3-year-old boy. It took us forever to get him into daycare just because of the pandemic, and we were on a wait list for so long.
And those takeaways echo what we've heard from our community. High cost and limited availability.
For us, there was no childcare available once I had our first child. Once you can get it, how expensive it is.
Tonight, we're diving into the problems parents face.
They said, if we had childcare, would you stay? And I was like, well, yeah, I don't want to leave my job.
And some solutions, both legislative and creative.
We need to invest in the early care and education workforce. So they are the backbone of the industry.
The data is clear. Childcare is critical to our country's economy.
And the reason is twofold. First, childcare itself is an industry employing nearly 1 million people. Second, it ensures working parents can work, which supports other industries. But as you just heard, experts, parents, and providers alike say there's problems.
Tonight, we start our in-depth coverage of this issue with the struggle one West Michigan mom faced while trying to secure care. From the jump,
When we looked at those waiting lists, they were at least a year.
Annie Dotson's family's experience with finding and then keeping childcare.
We did not have a spot become available for our oldest until he was 3 years old.
Is like a roadmap of the barriers many West Michiganders face, from securing childcare
Just felt like we had lost confidence that he could be safe there.
to multiple bad experiences once they settled on a place.
It just felt like they could not provide a response that we felt was adequate, and we moved on to our third center.
And then there's the cost.
We are probably considered socioeconomically middle class. And so if it's difficult for us to operationalize all of these challenges, I can't imagine how people are able to operationalize this in different circumstances.
There are state programs like Great Start to Quality that try to help.
We're one of 10.
Jamie Mueller's the program director for Kent ISD.
Ours is unique because we are the only resource center that covers just one county.
She says Annie's experience finding care is the standard.
Infant and toddler care is extremely difficult to find right now. And so that's where, we see one of the highest needs.
But these programs can only go so far. Annie says parents need to advocate for themselves.
I know that there's a lot of people who really need us all to be talking about this.
And suggests reaching out to lawmakers.
Be a menace. Be a menace, contact them all the time. I do expect that this is an issue that is front of mind for them when they're going into this next legislative session. This is the job they campaigned for. They promised us that they would put our families first, and this is what it looks like where the rubber meets the road.
The two complaints we keep hearing over and over are cost and access. According to the advocacy group Child Care Aware of America, in 2023, the average yearly price of childcare in Michigan was around $12,000 per child. But the median income for a married couple is $115,000. That means paying for childcare uses roughly 11% of their income. That's higher than what's generally considered affordable. And according to an expert I spoke with, if we hone in on West Michigan budgets, they get even tighter.
Housing and transportation takes up about 42% of people's income in Kent County. So if you have 2 children, you have to live somewhere and you have to get to your office. That's 74% of your income is taken up on just the minimum bare necessities.
Now add in access issues. In Michigan, it's estimated there are 4 children for every 1 child care spot in the state. Meanwhile, a 2021 survey found that 80% of child care centers had staffing shortages, and half of those centers were serving fewer kids because of it. We asked a daycare director and an expert about the root of this problem.
We have about 82 children here and about 25 staff total.
Faith Frew is the director at Plainfield Childcare in Plainfield Township.
We start with our infant room beginning at 6 weeks and go all the way up to 12 years.
She's worked here for 6 years, but has been in the industry since her 20s. She says over her career, she's seen childcare availability change.
I think a lot harder, especially I think since 2020, but it's definitely harder to get daycare. The waiting lists are definitely longer.
At this facility, 6 months is the average wait time to get in.
We have parents who are pregnant and start looking for daycare right away.
On the operational side, Frew has also seen changes.
Turnover, I think many of the daycares definitely have everywhere right now.
Amanda Nothaft with the University of Michigan's Poverty Solutions agrees.
It's hard to attract people to work in a child care center. It's long hours, you're poorly paid. Because it is so expensive, there's a pressure on the providers to try to do as much as they can with as little as possible. The main gap in the whole childcare system is this balance between supply and cost.
At Plainfield Childcare, beyond pay, they work to support staff in other ways.
They need to be able to still do the things they need to do, like doctor's appointments, and some have classes, and so we accommodate that as best as we can.
Frew's advice for prospective families: if you're considering childcare, don't wait.
I think the longer you wait, the harder it is. But if you start early too, children, I think, adapt better when they're younger.
So now that we've laid out the problems, what are the solutions? Experts we talked with have a few takeaways. First, recruitment. Invest in the child care and education workforce. Second, child care staff retention. That's done by increasing wages. Third, expanding access. Some other states provide subsidies to help support the system. And then fourth, policy changes. But what about solutions at the federal level? On Monday, President-elect Donald Trump will be sworn in. The platform on his website doesn't explicitly mention childcare, but it does say Republicans will promote a culture that supports working parents. On the campaign trail, incoming Vice President J.D. Vance said he'd like to see a larger child tax credit. Then, during a September appearance in New York, Trump said childcare is something you have to have in this country.
As lawmakers weigh whether to legislate change, one West Michigan school found its own solution. Our Julie Dunmeyer explains.
At West Catholic High School in Grand Rapids, Joe Rolfe teaches theology.
But I'm going to commit to the next class period, being attentive.
Down the hall, his daughter Carla plays.
4 steps down the hallway.
This wasn't always the case.
What are we going to do about childcare? And childcare is pretty expensive.
Rolfe actually left teaching to raise his family.
So we decided one of us will stay home. And it ended up being me.
Returning only when about a year later, this in-school daycare opened up.
The only way that I could be here is because of the childcare. That's the only way. If the childcare wasn't here, there was no other option of a best fit. This was the best fit.
West Catholic says it offers daycare at the lowest price possible, about half of what it typically costs in the area. Most of what you see in this space donated from the community. 15 kids are currently enrolled and cared for by providers employed by West Catholic.
It is great to be in the same place where our kids are. And so in order to retain teachers, in order to make sure that we're putting families first, we have childcare here on campus for all of our staff and all of our faculty to utilize.
It's a way for West Catholic to practice what they preach.
We say that families come first, and we say when we put things in the right order, we will all do what our vocations are calling us to do.
Putting family first.
You come to work and it's love and fun all day long.
In a time where finding childcare is anything but easy, a solution that's simple.
Because Carla, when she runs in each morning, this morning, I dropped her off, and she doesn't say goodbye to me anymore. She runs to Miss Jen or she runs to Miss Beth, and she's ready to do whatever she's ready to do. And that is a feeling of for a parent to have that feeling of peace And like, this is an extended family at this point. Right? If it's not your family taking care of your kids, you want it to feel like family.
Julie Dunmeyer, Fox 17 News.
Now, if you don't have childcare at your job, it can be overwhelming to find the options that fit your family's needs.
Experts we spoke to say one of the best places to start is Great Start to Quality. It's a statewide system that connects family to childcare and preschools. One of its centers even focuses exclusively on Kent County. The website has a database that parents can search. Plus, each provider listed must meet a certain quality level to be included. If it feels like you're stuck at square one, you're not alone, and this organization is here to help.
I would say mostly parents and families that reach out to us, they truly just don't know. They don't know where to start. They don't know exactly what they should be looking for. What they do know is that they have, this most precious gift to them, and they need to find somebody that's going to view their child in that same way and take, extremely amazing care of them.
Another recent development is the creation of Pre-K for All. Within the latest state budget, enrollment expanded to all families regardless of income level. Parents can use the Great Start to Quality search to find options in your area. Also on the website is an eligibility calculator that allows families to see if they qualify for additional financial support.
For a complete look at all we've covered tonight, plus links to some of the resources we mentioned, head to our website, fox17online.com.